Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching Expoz on December 27, 2015, 8:34 p.m. Birmingham. And the Pope says that full doomsday is headed our way. And said for those who just celebrated Christmas, it may be their last. And I have something to say about that. ISIS carving blood-soaked crucifix on Europe with targeted attacks to assassinate the Pope, to fulfill army of Rome prophecy and entice the final arrival of the Antichrist. And the new Brookings Institute report confirms Christian understanding of Middle East march toward doomsday. And then you have the setup for Antichrist to broker deal on Temple Mount. I'm going to stop here a second and tell you that when the Pope said this may be our last Christmas, I think this Pope knows a lot more than we think he knows. And I think there's people like Tom Horn that knows a lot more than the Pope than the rest of us knows. And the point I'm making is I believe that he is much more closely related to the Antichrist than people think. That's my belief. And if there is a brokered deal on the Temple Mount, I believe it will come from the Pope. Should Israel help a biometric mark of the beast start in 2016? And the Knesset passed a bill in 2009 that radiates right on until today. And this is a mark, but it's not a tattoo or something in your right hand or on your forehead. U.S. Doomsday Plan. Military bosses outline survival plan for when America's power systems are wiped out by cyber attacks. Focus is on Department of Defense, the contingency you are on your own, and how multiplex children of the future will have 32 parents with Nephilim DNA. It says they are coming. I don't believe we'll get that far, but we don't know. There could be a time period between now and when they actually splice that DNA rope. And you know what I'm talking about, like taking that link out of a chain. I didn't realize that by splicing in two, you take two links because you have two loops. By splicing two, then all of a sudden that gives the count at 32. That means a child would actually have the DNA of 32 others. And of course, they're saying the Nephilim. U.S. clinics obliged to offer fertility services to transgenders. Of course, this is free. Genetically modified creation is a moral duty, says British lords. Now, what they're showing is take a bloodhound or take what are these things? Doberman Pinscher. Take it and paint that thing in a skin, a see-through skin. And then he's got red eyes, meaning this thing can see in the dark. And he's a guard dog. He's on guard duty. I mean, these things are truly beasts. In the closest alien world yet, this may be supporting, or that may be supporting life beyond our solar system. And it is called Wolf 1061, 14 light years away. Guys, they're not looking for planets that can support our life, because there's no way that anything that we have or ever will have can travel 14 light years away. You got to imagine how far that is. But I think what they are looking at is what could be on those planets that could come here. I believe that's what they're referring to more than anything else. And but the multiplex parenting and allowing children to have numbers of parents rather than a set of parents, they're doing this, guys. I mean, they're working on it as hard as they can. And then I just hadn't wrapped my mind around not having power and a computer and lighting in my house. But yet, the military bosses have outlined survival systems for this very thing. A cyber attack or an EMP. Either one will wipe out everything on the surface. Now, I don't know what about under the surface, but they have gone underground for their contingency. For ours, we're on our own. And clearly they talk about that. And then the last one I'll talk about is a setup for the Antichrist to broker deals on the Temple Mount is escalating. And I believe that person to be the Pope. And maybe this is why ISIS are trying so hard to get to that man to kill him. That's what they want. Their goal is to kill the Pope and call it the fulfillment of the army of Rome. And they want him dead. There's no telling what we can look for 2016. It's not going to be good. And there's no telling when the meat of it's going to start. I mean, it may be tomorrow. Keep in mind, there are people still that have made predictions, and the previous two did come true on December 7th, December 13th. Those came to pass, and then between, and then ending on December 31st. Look what just hit us in the last 3 days. So far this year, 2015, there has been over 2,500 weather records broken in temperature alone. 2,500. Also in 2015, there's been excess of 2,500 to 2,600 in the same category, but as in depth of snow and then in floods of water. Actually, the record there was shattered about 8 times, maybe 9 times in both cases. You know, in Texas, you're having severe floods just east of Dallas. And then right behind it, you have 2 feet of snow coming down. This is unreal. This is crazy. These things have never happened. Not here, not in our time. But that's what's happening. And those who've had the severe floods, and 2 days later, 2 feet of snow on top of that, look, that flood is going to continue for a long time. On my phone, we had one good rain here, and that was night before last. But this phone right here keeps telling me that there is a river flood coming, to be ready. And that river flood, you know, we have a river system through Alabama, just like the Mississippi River is through Mississippi. All this water is coming down from the north to the south, and we're being warned, and we haven't even had but one severe rain or heavy rain, and it was about 4 inches in about 4 hours. Jody Wolf Expoz.